Doug Jenkins with the Findlay Hancock County Chamber of Commerce as we continue to give you the resources and tools to operate your business from home and see our way through the whole coronavirus pandemic that we're dealing with right now. Talking a lot about a lot of different subjects. One thing that you might not be thinking about right now is self-care. There's been a lot of talk about that over the last few years, making sure you're taking care of yourself so you can then in turn take care of your business, everything. Hamilton Wetzel is joining us from Integrity Chiropractic and Wellness, or I should say joining us from home, not at the office
Yes.
today, although very important distinction, chiropractic care has been deemed something that is an essential business, and there's good reason for that, Hamilton.
Yeah, actually, we help for acute cases. We're staying open and new patients because typically those are the ones who are in severe pain or substantial pain. And so because if we're open and we see those clients, then it helps take the load off of them going into the medical system, which is actually one of the main reasons people go to the ER is for severe back pain.
That's an interesting point that I hadn't thought about. So for you and other chiropractors in town, going to be very important to keep your workspace clean. What are the things that you've been doing? What are some best practices that people can use here?
Yeah, we're following the CDC guidelines. So our tables are being disinfected after every client. We're spacing out the appointments so that way there's as little overlap of clients as possible, even in the office. In our waiting room, we've taken out a bunch of the chairs so that way even if people wanted to sit next to each other, they couldn't. They have that 6 foot spacing. Wiping down surfaces after every client leaves, door handles, and then of course washing our hands after every patient.
So a lot of people getting a crash course in this, but it sounds like you've got a good handle on it and good practices for any business that's really been deemed essential and can stay in operation to use those. So thank you for sharing those with us today.
Yeah, no problem. We've been staying in touch with the Ohio State Chiropractic Association, and they keep us up to speed as well.
Well, I think a lot of people have been communicating more with their industry associations than perhaps ever before, and good to know that the
Yeah.
Chiropractors Association on top of everything as well. Another thing we wanted to talk about, though, home ergonomics. So a lot of us are working from home. Some of us have some makeshift workspaces. This is my dining room. I've shifted from my kitchen island that I was working at last week. Hamilton, I absolutely hated working from my island, and I think you know why.
Yeah, it's not great. Everybody at work typically will have at least a decent setup. Even if they don't necessarily have it set up perfectly, they've got the tools more so at the office to set things up. So a couple things to keep in mind. Your computer screen, ideally you're going to have that at eye level. So the center of the screen, you're going to have it eye level so you don't have to be hunched forward, looking down all day long. A lot of people will have a laptop. So even if you can set that laptop up on a laundry basket, on a stack of books, whatever the case might be, and then use a little Bluetooth keyboard. So that way that can stay down by where your hands should be. Ideally, you're not going to be leaning forward and crunching and twisting and everything's just kind of right in front of you. You can also set up, if you're going to do like your kitchen counter,
Mhm.
same principles apply. You want to do your best to bring that screen up at eye level. And actually, I mean, right now, even though, yeah, home workstations aren't ideal, now's a chance where somebody can spend, an hour sitting at your desk there and then switch for the next hour of work. You're going to be standing up. You have a little bit of that versatility. So it actually can turn out to be kind of a positive.
And also, my issue at the island too is just sitting on that island stool. It's not comfortable. It's not made for work. You don't want too comfy of a chair. You probably don't want to be in your recliner right now because that's probably not work inducive. But
Right.
you want to make sure that you have something that's a happy medium between the two.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you're going to sit at I wouldn't say sit at the kitchen counter, like stand at that one. And
That's a
then
good
again,
idea.
get that stack of books to put your screen up higher. So that way, as much as possible, you're not crunching forward. And then sit down ideally not in your couch, because again, if you ever look at the position you're at in your couch or a recliner, it's not great physically for you. And the principles of what you want to be, your hip and your knees ideally at about 90 degrees if you're sitting, and then your arms just kind of hang loose, and then your elbows at about 90 degrees is where you want the keyboard to be. So just kind of applying that to wherever you might be sitting. If you are sitting on the couch and you have something that can kind a little desk that can roll up to you, situating things as close to that as possible.
Outside of the work environment, still a lot of people staying at home, although the weather's been nicer the last few days where people could get out and take some walks, things like that. I know when we were at your office for a ribbon cutting a few months ago, you had a very relaxing environment. Also, you had tips on sort of how to relax and take that stress off. And I think that's something that's very important once the work hours are over, or even sometimes during work hours right now. Very
Yeah.
important to find those times to just maybe lay off a little bit. Any advice in that department?
Yeah, if we look at it, we've got, I know where there's the negative side of everything that's going on, because it's a serious situation. We can also look at it like we've got 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, of a chance to, okay, we are working from home. So we have some of the excuses that some of us might have from the fact that, oh, well, I'm in the office, so I can't take a break to stretch on the floor. I have to wait to do that at home. Well, now we're at home, so you have that chance where you've got like every hour, hey, stand up, go for a quick little walk outside, even if it's not the sunniest like today. Um, just move the body about every hour for about 5 minutes. Even if we can get in, one of the most important things to do is to get about 20 minutes of activity a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be high intensity, like, moderate activity. By doing that, we bring down, in that 2 to 3 weeks, we can start to bring down the chances of us getting diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and stroke. It lowers depression by 30% just by staying active like that.
Mhm.
So that would be primary, I'd say. Another way is to stay as calm or relaxed as possible is to, you're at home. You can have music on now if you like to work with music, whereas in the office, you couldn't do something like that. And so if you have some nice relaxing music, whatever's relaxing for you, getting to put that on is kind of a nice treat.
All right. Well, Hamilton, we appreciate you joining us today. Stay well.
Thank you, Doug. And I also want to just mention if I guess any of your listeners are either owners of business or in HR, if you email me, I will send you a quick video on like home station as far as ergonomics. And then I'd like to offer anybody, if you have specific questions for your workstation at home, they can email me, and I'd be happy to just to walk them through that.
Great. And the email address?
Dr. Wetzel, so DrWetzel at ihcare.com.
Perfect. Again, thank you for joining us. And again, we're going to continue to update our chamber members and the greater business community with tips for working from home. We're working to get some small business administration information out to you as well. Of course, that's sort of an in-progress thing. So when we know a little bit more about that, we'll break that down for you as well. But we'll continue to update our video library and give you the tools to continue to work and continue to thrive during this time. So for Hamilton Wetzel, I'm Doug Jenkins for the Findlay Hancock County Chamber of Commerce.